My name is Kody Crossen. I am the Operations Manager of Environmental Health and Safety for DC 6080 in Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania. Anytime anybody's looking at a safety program, one of the most important details is looking at proactive versus reactive measures. In a warehouse setting, it's very easy to fall into the trap of just constantly being reactive and looking at post-accident reviews. The building had in place safety observations, but it was a little bit more like checking a box that you observe somebody. It wasn't necessarily providing any valuable metrics. So kind of again fell into this trap of checking a box of, well, yes, we do observations, but then the back end of that was really, well, what are we getting out of it? We needed something that was able to dig a little bit deeper within the operation of the building to understand what was going on. It started out with what we were referring to as a soft launch. So we had taken everything that Weever had put together for our building and we presented it to the operations staff. They took a look at it, helped make some changes. And so then we took that feedback and we tried to really streamline it for the user. We took the new version, went out as the operations team, and we piloted it and then officially rolled it out to the entire management staff here. With any new process, we want everyone to buy into the ease of use. So another huge aspect that was really has been critical is implementing the QR codes. So the QR codes were placed at the end of every single rack, and a lot of managers have given favorable feedback about that. Basically, hey, I was walking in this area, I was observing this associate, and I took my phone out, took a picture of the QR code, and now I have the form live to do an observation. So the first one is looking at manager engagement. Is there gaps in places that we should be doing more observations? So having a snapshot of that right there on the report is incredibly helpful because we can see if we're having misses as a management team. And what that allowed us to do as an environmental health and safety team is start making our next moves and decisions based off of the real-time data of where we were seeing hot spots for things like body position, personal protective equipment, and those that were maybe breaking away or not following policies and procedures that were set forth to keep them safe. But then also looking at the data based around associates' behavior. So if that is a body positioning issue, we can have a conversation before there's an injury. And it's kind of allowing us to no longer fly blind. We know some prevalent bad habits that folks have, but this is taking the assumption piece out of it, and it's actually showing us hard data for different areas. One in particular that has been extremely helpful is we're finding one area has a lot of issues with pinch gripping. So we're going to set up more observations based around those work areas to stay ahead of it and to let associates know that, historically this can and does lead to an injury. And I don't want to take away the ability that the safety observations has given us to also have positive recognition. We're finding a lot of people that are out there doing the right thing regularly. And it's just a really good way to highlight that associate or those associates for doing the right thing. There's managers out there that are really, really good at looking at specific criterion of safety. And then there's others that maybe they're just scratching the surface of it, but they're not able to maybe dig as deep as you would like. And so this has now given them the tool that they need to have the appropriate conversation and to look at the correct things. So it's shifted our safety culture in here from a management perspective, because now we are much more focused in on what we should be looking at. And it also allows the associates to understand what we are looking for. So it's not as arbitrary as it once was. So it's creating a lot more conversation. And I think it's making associates much more mindful of their actions, because there are people that are watching to make sure that they don't get hurt. So now that we have it completely live across the building, we're able to break it down by shift. And so what that does is it gives us a roadmap to share during our daily meetings with fellow managers on areas of opportunity. So I would recommend Weever because of the way that they want to make sure you're getting the needs for your building. Even a warehouse for Walmart in Virginia or New York, they might be looking for something that's a little bit different than what I need in my part of the world. And having the flexibility and the ability to have that constant communication back and forth with Weever to make sure that we are getting everything that we need exactly, and knowing that before anything's rolled out to the building, it has been looked at dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of times by multiple people from Weever. That to me was huge. So it really solved the issue of switching gears from being reactive to more proactive. So right now, we're kind of posturing ourselves to be probably 60 to 70% proactive. It's much easier to anticipate what's coming next, knowing the infractions of safety and related items because of the BBSOs.